Amidst the growing population of the poor neighborhoods of late Victorian London, a determined and visionary woman with the name Octavia Hill took it upon herself to improve the lives of the poor, believing in the transformative power of clean air, open spaces, and a decent home.
Octavia Hill is a pioneering English social reformer, thinker, and one of the co-founder of National Trust. Born on December 3, 1838 in Wisbech, Cambridgeshire, England, into a family deeply committed about helping others. Her father, James Hill, was a corn merchant and philanthropist, while her mother, Caroline Southwood Smith, was the daughter of a sanitary reformer. Initially, they lived in a comfortable townhouse. However, all this changed when Octavia's father was declared bankrupt after his investments failed. With financial constraint, Octavia saw what it meant to live with hardship, and that shaped the rest of her life. She worked tirelessly to improve urban housing and to protect green spaces and the impact of life and work. Her belief in the importance of access to nature for human well-being and the need to stop the destruction of the natural landscape are even more relevant today.
From a young age, Hill became involved in social work. At just 14, she began working for the Ladies' Guild, an organization that supported underprivileged children. The city was growing fast, and many families lived in crowded, cold, and dirty homes. Octavia believed no one should live like that. Her social conscience and dedication led her to partner with John Ruskin, a prominent art critic and a philanthropist who supported her housing initiatives.
It was in 1864 that Octavia Hill first started to work in the poorer neighborhoods of late Victorian London. She worked with people at the bottom of the social ladder, the poor and unemployed, living in cold and damp dwellings. Housing was her main concern. With support from a famous writer named John Ruskin, Octavia bought 3 rundown houses in London. She didn't just fix them. She visited every tenant herself, collected rent, and talked with them about their problems. She treated people with respect. Octavia Hill believed that a well-maintained home, however small, with light, air, and space, and with neighbors who care about each other, is one of life's main necessities.
Housing was the foundation for her work, but also the starting point for other activities, the development of gardens, and creating playgrounds. She organized countryside trips for children who had never seen green fields. Octavia Hill decided to live in the Marylebone borough of London herself and build a kind of a space behind her home where women, kids, and elderly people could gather, learn, and enjoy their free time.
Through her careful and hands-on approach, Octavia Hill's housing project became both socially impactful and financially successful. In fact, they delivered a reliable return of 5%, making them attractive to investors who wanted to see both profit and purpose. As her work grew, so did the support behind her. More donors came forward, and Hill began to train other women to take roles similar to hers, essentially becoming some of the first social workers. These women weren't just collecting rent, they were building relationships with tenants, offering support and encouraging responsibility and self-respect. Octavia believed strongly that help should build people up, not make them dependent. She rejected the kind of charity that treated the poor helpless. Instead, she focused on what we now call empowerment and resilience, helping people take control of their lives with dignity. She believed that with the right support, anyone could improve their lives.
In 1869, she helped establish the charity organization society, known now as Family Action, one of the first efforts to modernize social work. The idea came from a model in Elberfeld, Germany, and it aimed to organize aid in a way that truly lifted people out of poverty in Britain. Through personal attention, not handouts. The organization pioneered the concept of house visiting, where trained individuals would visit families personally to assess their needs, laying the foundations for what we now recognize as professional social work practice.
A few years later, in 1875, another of Octavia Hill's great concerns was the lack of green, open spaces for the urban poor. At a time when cities were rapidly expanding, she feared that nature would become a luxury only the wealthy could enjoy. She campaigned passionately to protect suburban woodlands from development and played a vital role in saving Hampstead Heath and Parliament Hill fields in London from being built over. Her efforts helped ensure that ordinary people could enjoy nature, fresh air, and space to breathe, something she believed was essential for both mental and physical well-being. This commitment to preserving beauty and access for all led her in 1895 to become one of the three co-founders of the National Trust, an organization created to protect places of historic interest and natural beauty for the public's enjoyment. Today, the Trust continues her vision, safeguarding coastlines, countryside, and heritage buildings across the UK. Her influence reached into policy as well. In 1905, she was appointed to the Royal Commission on the Poor Laws, offering her insights and experience in tackling poverty through personal responsibility and community support.
Toward the end of her life, interest in her way of working had declined because of the emphasis she placed on individual and small-scale social work. Hill refused to acknowledge that significant government intervention might be needed to deal with major social problems such as poverty, housing, and unemployment. She was of the firm opinion that government initiative should never replace voluntary action, and so her popularity eroded with the emergence of the welfare state. It is not surprising that with current debates about the functions and sustainability of welfare state, there is once again a growing interest in Hill's work and philosophy.
Octavia Hill is significant in the history of social work because she rejected charitable alms. Her intention was to provide help without alms, arguing that charity tended to be resented and served to keep people on the margins of poverty. Nonetheless, Hill's approach could be called paternalistic in that it tried to change the attitudes and habits of poor people. She felt that more and better houses alone wouldn't eliminate slums, and once claimed that
The people's homes are bad partly because they are badly built and arranged. They are tenfold worse because of the tenants' habits and lives are what they are. Transplant them tomorrow to a healthy and commodious home and they would pollute and destroy them. Octavia Hill, 1875.
despite this, Octavia Hill's legacy is undeniable. She helped shape modern social housing, pioneered grassroots social work, and fought to preserve green space for everyone to enjoy.
Throughout her life, Hill remained unmarried, devoting herself entirely to improving living conditions for the urban poor. She passed away on August 13, 1912, but her influence continues to this day. In the homes people live in, the parks they walk through, and the values that still guide social care.